We're standing at the site of Kumran near the Dead Sea, where in 1947 a Bedouin shepherd boy went after one of his goats that was scampering off into the cliffs here behind us. The goat was running away, and as the boy ran after him, he stopped in the shade to rest for a while and threw a stone in a cave right across from him, thinking maybe the goat had fallen in, and wanted to figure out how deep the cave was. And instead of hearing a goat cry out or hearing the rock hit the bottom and hit other rocks, he suddenly heard the shattering of a piece of pottery. It spooked him. Later, when he went back to look and see what was there, he discovered that what actually had been found was a large cylindrical pot with scrolls inside, scrolls with an ancient writing, an ancient mysterious writing that he couldn't read. The Bedouins took them, and after several years of looking at them and trying to figure out what was going on, they finally discovered that these were biblical scrolls, scrolls of the books of the Old Testament, scrolls that contained the book of Genesis, the book of Isaiah in its complete 66 chapters, 8 copies of the book of Daniel, 32 copies of the book of Deuteronomy. Every single book of the Bible attested at Qumran, with the exception perhaps of Esther, but we even think we have a fragment of that now, here found in these caves. The cave behind me, cave number 4, contained over 15,000 scroll fragments. And when those scroll fragments were pieced together, produced about 520 scrolls. Who wrote these scrolls? Why were they placed here? Archaeologists still think about that and wonder about that. But probably before the Roman destruction of Jerusalem, these scrolls were hidden here for protection, lest they fall into the hands of the Romans. We think today that these scrolls are one of the most important discoveries probably in biblical archaeology, for they testify of the earliest biblical manuscripts that we have, dating back to the 2nd century BC, about 150 years before the time of Christ. These scrolls testify that the transmission of biblical texts for over 1,000 years to the Old Testament text that we're reading today was extremely accurate, and that there was considerable continuity between the two. There were no major changes to books, no major changes to passages. What you and I are reading in our Bibles today were found in these scrolls, in these caves, dating back to 150 BC. We're standing inside the scriptorium. The scriptorium is the place where the scribes, we believe, copied the Dead Sea Scrolls. How do we think that's possible? We have found a series of desks that are today in the museum in Amman, Jordan, where we believe they used these desks to copy the scrolls. We also found a series of inkwells in this particular place that we again believe probably were used to hold the ink for the scrolls themselves. There's the most number of inkwells we've ever found in any particular one spot, anywhere in the Holy Land. And again, the thousands of scrolls that have been found in the caves surrounding this place date to about the same time period as this community does. And so the connection between the scrolls and this particular room are significant. And so when we look at this room, we can imagine that this is where the scribes were located who copied the Dead Sea Scrolls, the most important archaeological discovery that we have. The Dead Sea Scrolls that verify that the Bible still today is the Bible that Jesus might have read in the 1st century.